You're listening to Sister Chat Radio on the best station in the nation, 2014 MTV Woody Award winning 90.3 WESS FM Radio, East Stroudsburg University, East Stroudsburg, PA. Today you are joined by the voice of hope, Queen Carlene. The voice of reason, Ask Aixa. The voice of showered blessings, Madam Rain. And the voice of wisdom, Mama C. Please be advised that these views and opinions are not that of the station or the university.
Welcome all to Sister Chat. This is our second session for back to school. I'm Aixa, and in a studio is all of us from Sister Chat. All of us. We got Carlene in the house. We got Alicia in the house, and we have Deborah in the house. Hello. But let's get down to business. Today's topic is, career development and career readiness. And we have a special guest today. He's actually the new career development, who are you? Mr. Zeigler Luke, correct?
Yep, Luke
Okay,
Zeigler.
and I want you to, tell us a little bit about where you are and what you're doing here at the college and so forth.
All right, I'm the new career advisor here at East Stroudsburg University. I'm recently moved to the area from Lewisburg, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
You can find me 5 days a week. I'll be in the Career Development Center, which is on the top floor of the University Center.
The University Center?
Yes.
Is that like the building above the
My office.
Okay, where is that? The cafeteria, so that all the students know?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Those of you who have not been out there, you need to go and check out what's going on at the career development.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
And for those of us that don't know, Alicia actually works over there, so you guys will be working together, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
All right,
We've been working
awesome.
together for a few weeks. It's been great.
Okay, what are some of the things that you guys are offering students and so forth in readiness to career and so forth? How does that work?
So at this point, it kind of depends on where students are in their progression academically. But some of the services that we provide are general things like resume reviews, cover letter reviews, those kind of things to help students make sure that their documents they're using to apply to jobs are as strong as possible. For students that might not be so sure what they want to do for a job, we have tools that they can use like the Focus 2 Career Assessment.
Awesome.
What that is kind of a tool that they can go and get their interests, their passions, those kind of things assessed by a program that will then match those scores with different careers that will be suited to them as best as possible.
So is that something like when let's say I'm a student here at East Stroudsburg, at what point do I actually go over to the career development? Is that at any given point in my year as a student? Does it go along with my the what do you call it? I got blank.
Curriculum.
Yeah, the curriculum that I'm studying. And what do you say? Well, let's start off with that. At what point would a student come to your office? And if not through the radio today, they're going to find out. But what other ways could they know that there's a career development that allows them to become ready for their future careers and so forth?
Students can come to the Career Development Center at any point in their academic progression while they're a student. After they're an alumni, all of our services are still available to them after they graduate. They can even come in probably after they're enrolled, but before they even start taking classes. The earlier they get started with us, the better. So the earlier that we can kind of start to get them thinking career-related objectives, the better. The more they're going to be thinking about what their interests are, their careers, what activities they can get engaged in to advance themselves and make themselves more marketable in the future. So the earlier the better. We're there for them all throughout their time at school. It's not part of curriculum directly, but we do have a lot of professors at the school that do use our services as part of their individual curriculum.
So the program that you're using, is it like a John Holland model where you match?
Yeah, it's similar to the Holland types,
Uh-huh.
so like the realistic, artistic, social, investigative, those type of things.
Exactly.
So it does match to those same type of measures,
Yes.
but it's not as...
What's that called? I'm sorry.
It's called RAZAC. It's realistic,
It's the Holland model.
The Holland.
I don't know. I don't know. Holland Tunnel
So
is
the-
that's all I know too.
That's what I was going to say. The Holland model is one that is used to match a person's their personality type
Okay.
with the careers. So if you're artistic, would you want to be in entertainment over being in an engineering field? So it really matches the person's personality with the field that they're most likely, and that works for students who are unsure of what they like to major in, correct?
Yes, absolutely. That's a really valuable tool.
You know, I'm so glad all of you are knowledgeable, because when I came here today, I'm like, okay, only thing I have to contribute to this conversation today is I think everyone should start preparing as soon as possible.
Yes.
And lo and behold, this is exactly what you're saying. And I'm looking at the career development sheet that Alicia just handed me that offers different aspects of career assessment and development beginning with freshman year. And I would say that, you know, even if you begin in your last year of high school to look at what it is you want to do and begin to think seriously about your career path. I think that's important, that the sooner you do it, the better. I think a lot of times kids come out of high school and they have not a clue. You know, and then they don't know that there is a career development office here at ESU, and so they kind of mosey on through their, you know, years as a student, and they don't get the caliber of direction they need. So, you know, sometimes people can still come out of college a little lost and not have developed from a career perspective.
No,
I think it's great.
That's a good point. Luke, what are some of the conflicts that, or to say lack of a better word, some of the difficulties in terms of students that are coming to you uncertain? Are we looking more at how their behavior, their professional interviewing skills? Are we looking at more towards trying to get them to decide on a career? What do you see as a problematic area in terms of career readiness for students here, or, you know, wherever you work?
No, that's a great question. I think the first step is obviously in that decision-making process that you talked about, because after a student makes a decision of where they're going to be going, all the other stuff begins to fall into place. But the motivation to develop the interviewing skills, the professionalism, it's not really there until they have a concept of where they're going.
Right.
And that's kind of like you touched on, like students don't know about career development. They don't understand that they have to be focusing and trying to develop career aspirations.
Right, right.
And it's one of those things that I wish that more students would be aware of the services that we offered and the importance of it. Because the reason I got involved in doing the work that I do is because I saw so many of my peers that were going through college the same time I was not have that direction. And that lack of direction led to them either failing out or dropping out because they felt like they were wasting their time.
Right,
Exactly.
And having that sense of direction is really important. So I think that's probably the biggest step.
As you're talking about it, Luke, I am thinking more about how we as a society will say to our children, our young people, that you should do what you love. Yet we have such limited exposure to what we love. And had we had more volunteer, had we maybe did something in engineering, maybe we wouldn't have chosen dance. And wondered, what is the university doing in terms of getting students acclimated or familiar with different career? I mean, you have a career drive or something of that sort that comes on campus so that students can go and meet with potential employers?
Yeah, we actually have a career expo that's coming up. It's in October on the 28th. But in terms of a tool to kind of help expose students to different career paths, on the website for the Career Development Center, we have a tool that's called What Can I Do with This Major? And what that allows students to do is pick the major or a course of study they might be interested in, and then it shows a wide list of careers that would be associated with that major, and especially ones they might not traditionally think about. Because in a lot of majors, especially liberal arts, there's a large body of transferable skills that can apply to a huge breadth of careers that students aren't really aware of. So a student studying English doesn't need to be an English teacher. They're gaining skills that they can apply to different careers.
The one thing I wish, I think that is great that the school has done that, but here's one of the things I think is missing from that, is getting a real person on board who have actually done some of what that long list of careers that are out there that you can potentially become one of those things. But to meet real people in the field. I wonder if we could do a better job of introducing students to real people who have done liberal arts, who have done this and that in these areas, and have the students actually have a conversation. Can we have friends, I like to call them, to come on campus and help with that?
Or even the alumni, the people that are there.
The alumni, the folks in the community, in this community, which would be good for business, that are in those fields.
That is my cue to bring in the campus events of ESU. Last week, there was an office of welcome back to Camp Barbecue with the Office of Multicultural Affairs, and it was awesome. Today we had a club fair where all of the students congregated and saw all of the clubs that participated on campus. And career development, we had a table there as well. But let me inform you of what's coming up. This Saturday, September 13th, at 2 p.m., the ESU Latino Film Festival will have a double feature of movies Las Vegas, Con Gafas, and Queen Estellana Cristal.
Espérate un momentito, por favor.
Okay.
Maybe, look, maybe you should have read that. Read those two.
Vamos a hacer un recuerdo. Espérate. Okay, what were the okay, there are events that are coming up.
The ESU Latino
Let me put on my
Festival.
lentes. Let me put on my lentes. ESU Latino Film Festival double feature. Las Vacas con Gafas y Quien es Diana Cristal. And Saturday, September the 13th at 2 p.m. followed by questions and answers, Beers Lecture Hall. Okay, that's it for the Spanish. There you go.
Bilingual.
Just the name. It was just pronunciation of names.
Okay.
That was fun.
So, Arlene, you can continue with the question you had for him.
And I don't know if you remember, I was asking if
Sizing up something
we
about
can
it?
have a match with the folks in the field, and maybe not. It's not such a hard thing to get that from our community, to come in and actually get real bodies in front of these children and these young people to say, these are this is a career in liberal arts and this is what it looks like in our community. But just to not just have that list, but to have them have someone to talk to. And when you're talking about your program, I wonder if we are also doing supply and demand with the students. Is this degree in demand, and is it in demand in this area? Are you willing to relocate? You know, just questions like that to get people to have a real hard look at what you're getting into, and not just get a degree and then say, well, make it work for me, because you got to work it.
That's right.
But are you able? I mean, at this point, I'm sure that your career development is equipped to, you know, kind of focus in on exactly what the student is looking for and so forth. What are your what will they allow you in terms of your position here? Is there like an advice box in terms of just getting more stuff out there that will correlate with, you know, the career development in students? Like, based on what Carlene has said, that's an awesome idea. Do you have something like that already in line, or is that something that we're looking forward to?
We need to find Luke. I hope you don't
No,
feel
I'm
This is
totally
Sister Chat.
fine. I'm totally fine.
There's all hormones up in here.
Totally
So
fine.
you gonna get it. No, but nevertheless, no, it's an idea.
No, yeah,
Didn't
absolutely.
well, you warned you, did I?
Totally fine.
Contrast and
Carly
compare.
touches on a lot of really interesting points, and I think you're right. I think it would be a great service to provide for our students to have local community members and local professionals come in to speak to them about different fields available.
Right.
But it's one of those things that it's hard to reach out to those professionals and bring them in without the guarantee of a student audience, because we don't want to waste anyone's
Right.
time.
Right.
So what we try to do is, if a student comes to us with an interest in a field without much knowledge about it, that's when we, on our end, will then reach out to the community and try to
That's how you
contact
do it.
someone and then
Wonderful. Okay.
try to match them up so that
Well,
they can
that's
maybe
the
have like a meaningful job shadowing experience.
Absolutely.
And the second part of your question was, what was it again? I'm so sorry.
After you've matched them up, is there a supply and demand? Do we talk to students about this degree and how is it marketable now? Have they looked up the market and
No.
what is it? pay and all of that.
Yep, absolutely. When a student comes into our office and they're considering a certain career, or they have questions of if their major or career they've chosen is good for them, those are things that we bring in. So we have a large database that we bring all that information together and use that to inform the student to make sure that they are as educated as possible when making those decisions. Because like you said, we don't want students who are, oh, I'm going to go pursue this career to be a musician. There's going to be tons of jobs out there for me to do, and the career outlook's very great. And we don't want them to leave the office if that's not the case. We want them to know the facts. So that's what we try to do in our office, to give them tools to make as an informed decision as possible. So that's definitely something
awesome.
we try to
And
do.
you said something earlier about the alumni, that they're also able to come back. What is your show rate for that? Are, grad students coming back to get help for career readiness and so forth as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
So I've primarily been working with alumni so far over the internet. So they can send in resumes, cover letters that they're looking to update or transition careers, that kind of thing.
That's what you guys actually do? If, say, they can come in with their resume, you guys will look it over?
Oh yeah, we'll go over the whole thing, help them describe
Awesome.
their work experiences to be more effective for the jobs they're applying for. We actually just had our first Success Series workshop today, and an alumni was present. And after the presentation, came up, introduced himself, and then continued to come to the office afterwards and set up an appointment to come get some of those services. So working
Okay.
with alumni is something that we really try to do.
So part of the services are resume readiness as well. And we also, I noticed you guys have like a statue, doll or something up with the, how old is that suit on her? That suit? There's
The
a
dress,
model,
the dress.
the dummy.
Yeah.
That's a nice little outfit. Is that still in fashion?
I believe so. I mean, so Brooks Brothers is kind of a corporate sponsor that we have to do our Success Series workshops.
Okay.
So what they do is, as an incentive for students to attend those, because we feel what we're speaking to is so valuable, Brooks Brothers has agreed to provide a certain gift certificate for a certain amount of money to
hear
that
that,
be used in their
guys?
stores. So
Okay.
if a student attends
Certificate.
4 or 5 of our workshops throughout the semester, or throughout the year actually, I'm sorry, so for the fall and the spring, then they're entered into a drawing. And if their name is drawn out of that, they're eligible to get this gift certificate. I think last year was somewhere around $500.
Wow, and they get a
Yeah.
nice suit,
There should
dressed to
be
impress.
there should be one for this evening. I'm on my way to Brooks Brothers to get a gift for my husband.
Oh, there you
Now
go.
we're promoting them.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brooks.
Yeah.
So let them know you was referred by ESU Career Development.
And get you in trouble?
And hopefully maybe get a discount of some kind,
Some kind of
Okay, I didn't say all that. I just said mention career development so that they know we're sending people to them.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. But you know what? It doesn't hurt to try. You might still get a discount, you know?
That's a sister for you. They pinch coupons and try to get the discounts.
That's right. That's right. You know, I mean, every penny counts.
Yes, yes.
When you mentioned, I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
When you mentioned that the alumni come in and they are able to work, you help them with the resume and job readiness. I was also thinking of how we could help students, current students and alumni to have a conversation about what happens afterwards. Is there some of that goes on?
She's
The
iceberg.
Evolve Conference.
Oh yes, yeah. I mean, there is a big event that we do have coming up, November 8th. It's a Saturday, so that's an event where a lot of alumni that have graduated, that have used our services previous, are going to be coming back and putting on an event for seniors for a whole day. So there's
Awesome.
going to be speakers relating to what to expect in terms of employers looking for in their resumes, cover letters, the big things we keep touching on. But there's also going to be an etiquette lunch during the day where people that have been in the field, been in their professions for a while, will be able to come and advise students on how to behave and how to approach kind of a formal
Very
dinner setting.
important.
Additionally, there's going to be a small networking event. So those alumni will just kind of be around and they'll be giving advice to students and allowing students to practice introducing themselves to other professionals while they kind of work on entering their field.
Great,
Yeah,
great.
absolutely.
And you know, I think that the more we get into helping people to feel that sense of confidence that they need, the better off they're going to be with respect to life in general. I know that I know where I live, there's a group of us, we call ourselves the Mountaintop Mamas, and what we've started doing, and one of the mothers is doing, initiating today, she's going to get the kids to begin to do their bios, and this is the elementary kids, so that, they're going to get used to being able to understand who they are and how to tell people who they are and what they do and what
That's
they
amazing.
like and all of that, and I think that the earlier we can introduce young people to the process of putting themselves out there, because I think a lot of times people are afraid to get out there, you know.
You couldn't be more right.
They've not had that kind of exposure, and they feel insecure about doing it. So I think the earlier we can do it, and the fact that ESU is doing it on a consistent basis throughout the course of a student's career here as a student, I think that's fabulous.
There's a question I have for you. Okay, so for example, I would like a few do's and don'ts. Let's give a couple of pointers just in case someone is going on an interview tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. Are there any, for example, in terms of dressing, we always hear that first impression is very important, but how do you know for sure when is it appropriate to wear a tie versus no tie? When is it appropriate to wear a vest, jacket, or for a woman, should she have on skirts? Should it be heels? Are there any like outstanding do's and don'ts in interviewing in terms of dress code?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. There's different things for different fields. A good rule of thumb to follow when kind of considering what to be wearing for an interview is always dress like you're someone operating in the position above the one that you're applying for.
Oh, I like that.
So it's not
Remember
always, it's not going to be dictated always, oh, you have to wear this, you have to wear that. I'm personally of the belief that you should have some ability to kind of flex your personal style a little bit, because you want to be honest with who you are, and that starts with your first impression, your physical appearance.
Yes.
But you should be wary of the fact of, if it is a professional position, you're going to want to dress above the position you're applying for. And if it's not, if you're saying you're going for a position that doesn't require such consistent professional clothing, you don't want to overdress for that interview either. So you just kind of want to try to gauge right in that little area. So just a little bit above what your every day-to-day clothing would be for the position.
What percent of the being hired do you think is a lot of it placed on dress code? Like, what would, you know what the question is?
No, yeah,
Good, 'cause I
absolutely.
don't know how to say
Appearance.
this.
Yeah, just the
How,
first impression. How important is that?
yeah, how important is that
The first
in determining hiring a person?
It's massive.
You think it's like what, 50% of the interview?
I would say even more than that.
Even more
than
Because-
that.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
First
It's
impression.
all of it. It's
Yeah,
Wow.
because it's one of those things that if you're sitting in an interview, you're qualified for the position. They've already gone through enough of the screening process to know that you have the knowledge and the skills to be there, but how you present yourself in that first impression is going to be massive in their decision making.
Wow.
A lot of employers, I think, make that decision within the first 2 to 3 minutes of an interview if you're going to be a person that they're going to consider moving forward with or not.
Wow. That's
It's like
very
speaking a
important.
second language.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So we're getting ready to.
So what I hear is that these students need to take a new approach. They need to take a new step. They need to take off the attire that they're wearing and put on the attire that they want to achieve.
Yes.
So with that, I have a new release by Panama Red called New Step, premiering first here on WESS FM Radio.
Attention. Time to put down the crystal. Time to take off the ice for a minute.
We're gonna shut it down real quick.
Go. 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 Come on. Ha. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Make it rain on them with your new style. Sweat it out now. Let me see what you grab. Tell the bartender, let me get my drink on. We gon' party to the DJ's last song. I lot it. We like to party. Pour me a double. Make it hard body. Get 'em off me, y'all. Get 'em off me. Come on. Get 'em off me, y'all. Get 'em off me. Come on. Get 'em off me, y'all. Get 'em off me. Y'all just keep the music on and don't shock me. If you gon' dance tonight, then let it out. You don't want dance tonight, then walk it out. Come on, to the floor. Keep the roof in. To the floor. Keep the roof in. Kick your heels off. Forget the two-step. Better get your feel on. Let me see your new step. your new step. Forget your two-step, let me see your new step. Forget your two-step, let me see your new step. Forget your two-step, let me see your new step. Forget your two-step, let me see your new step.
Everybody get your hands up. Let's get dirty. Everybody get your hands up. Let's get dirty. Everybody get your hands up. Let's get dirty. You ain't come to party, shut up. Let's get dirty. Oh my God, 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 oh my
Boogie
God.
Back says,
Lord, I think I got the head to
let your doobie down, take off your do-rag. Let your doobie down, take off your do-rag. With your new step, let me see you do that. With your new step, let me see you do that. I do the tig, tag, toe, until you get that, floor. Get them off me, y'all, get them off me. Get them off me, y'all, get them off me. Come on, get them off me, y'all, get them off me. You just keep the music going and no talking. Stop playing, with your new step, get them. Stop playing, with your new step, get them. Forget your two-step, let me see your new step. Show me what your group rep, gon' let it out. Okay, with your group rep, let me see your new step. Just forget your two-step, show 'em what you got. Forget your two-step, let me see your new step. Forget your two-step, let me see your new step. Forget your two-step, let me see your new step. Forget your two-step, let me see your new step. Forget your two-step, let me see your new step. Forget your two-step, let me see your new step. Forget your two-step, let me see your new step. Forget your two-step, let me see your new step. Come on. Ha.
The Surgeon General, the Surgeon General, the Surgeon General, the Surgeon General.
Let's go.
Back to the party, everybody.
Hey, forget your two-step. Let me see your new step. Forget your two-step. Let me see your new step. You know what part I liked about this song?
Good girl.
What?
Listen, let your doobie down, take off your do-rag. But Madam Rain is going to complain.
What's the word? What's the word?
Proclaim.
That I'm going to take off my fedora and let my hair down. Take off my fedora and let my hair down. Take off my fedora and let my hair down.
Okay, and because
Because I'm forgetting my two-step, I'm going to do the new step.
That's how you do it.
okay, Madam Rain.
Madam
boy.
Rain, look, Madam Rain
Hit
took
the
off her
street,
fedora. Madam Rain
I
broke
lost
the
her hair.
earphones.
I lost my headphones.
Gosh.
Yeah, you know.
It's
Like,
okay.
see,
There
that's
you
what
go.
happened when
Madam
she gets
Rain,
excited.
look at what you're doing to us in the studio. Wow. I can't even put on my fedora back on, but that's okay.
Okay.
That's all right.
She changes into a whole new personality here in the studio, which is awesome.
Definitely is.
No, I'm sorry, babe. Madam Rain, are you hitting the streets today?
Yes, I am.
Okay, well, give us a treat.
This is Madam Rain, Voices of Showered Blessings. You hear the rain falling? When it rains, it does not rain one raindrop, but many raindrops. Our voices represent the raindrops as Sister Chat hits the street to cover the beat. So let's listen to our community speak.
This is Madam Rain. Man, I had a good time at the Brims and Bow Ties event, and I want you to know that there's a lot of community events like that occur in our community. At that event, I had the opportunity to meet with the Monroe County Democratic Committee chairwoman and the people that's in her organization. I met with the president of the NAACP, the councilwomen for Negro women here in Monroe, in East Pocono. I mean, it's a great way of networking, and networking is a topic that we're going to cover next week. But I want everyone to be aware that Saturday, September 20th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., the NAACP Monroe County Health Awareness will have their festival, and it will be held in the Lotus Center right here near East Stroudsburg, PA. So I encourage everyone to come out and support these community events because the community helps the campus a lot. So now we will return with Career Readiness.
All right, we're back here, and again, we have Mr. Zeigler. His first name is Luke, and he's over at the Career Development Center and the University what is that building?
University Center.
University Center. Okay, so we were kind of like saying how important it is, like your clothes, your dress code, how it really weighs during an interview, which is a very important thing for people who are not too much concerned about their looks, but your looks will really determine whether or not you get the position most of the time, especially if the person that's coming for the same position has the same qualifications that you hold. So remember, dress to impress always. My last, and I'm sure it's too small of a time to really touch on all the things that we need to know, and that's why you have this career center available for all the students. You guys are listening. Get over there and get to learn what you need to learn to get the job you need. The graduate school issue, I wanted to know, so you offer, in terms of a student that just completed, let's say, their bachelor's or about to complete their bachelor's, you have something over there that you can also assist them. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, we can assist them in all aspects of their application process to grad school, but
Wow.
prior to doing that, so yeah, like we would do helping with the critiquing and editing of their personal statements, the completion of their application documents, getting their resume ready for that, helping them find references for the completed packages that they need to. But before all that, a key step of what we do is just making sure students understand what they're getting into with grad school, because I think a lot of students now, especially with the difficult economy and finding jobs right out of higher education, is grad school is kind of being viewed as an outlet, an escape to avoid looking for a job. But we really need to stress to students that that's not what it's for, and it only should be pursued if they are certain and intensely passionate about the field they're entering, because the investment of time and money is so big if it's not something that they're going to, at the end of the day, really continue to pursue.
This runs into my question. That's what I was trying to whisper, is that on my way to my doctorate, I know one of the reasons why I chose to do a doctorate is because I pursued psychology, and at the bachelor's level, psychology was more marketable if you chose a doctorate or licensure in a related field. So one of the things I was hoping that we could do with people that are looking at various majors, such as business management, is to say to students, these are a list of degrees that you can get out at the bachelor's level and find work immediately. And these are those that you will probably need to do an advanced degree. And let people be aware, as sort of willy-nilly into a master's and a doctorate, to meander, kind of, not knowing that if you had taken this course or if you had done this major, you could have gotten work right away and shouldn't have escaped and cost yourself so much money in the end. So that's what I'm hoping. Is there a list that you have with those that can pursue a career right after college, and then these are the degrees that it would behoove you to then go on to your master's and a doctorate if you chose this?
No, there's not a master list that we provide to students, which would be probably a really useful tool.
Yes.
Something that they could look just to kind of have a quick reference that these areas traditionally might require more education. What we hope, though, is that when students do come to speak with us, when they are considering those things, we can share that information with them. But no, there isn't anything that we're doing right now to communicate to them directly that this field requires you to have
I just
more
charged you.
education. No, you did. I like it. I'll take the assignment. I'll put it on my shoulders.
One of the things that I want to bring to light is that in the Career Development Office, we do offer individualized personal appointments. So our appointments generally are curtailed around the student's needs. So we usually have appointments that are set up, and they'll either meet with me, Luke, or the director, and they're usually for about an hour. And the appointments are in resume building. We like to start them off with that, then to prepare a cover letter, then to actually do job searching. Then after they do the job searching, how do you prepare for an interview? After the interview, how to follow up. Because after you have an interview with someone, there's a step that you must do to ensure that your face is remembered, and we call that a follow-up email or card, a thank you card, some things like that people are not aware of.
Actually.
So we don't do everything all in one session. We take them through steps. And I think at the end of the show, I will have Luke kind of go over our 4-year career development plan, because it is a development.
Right.
We
right.
can't do this all, at one time.
Right. And I know during the break, Luke and I were talking about, and I was sharing with him that, at this point in my life, I find it interesting that the process for getting a job is so different from my day. And we were talking briefly about the process that a resume goes through. And you want to share some of what you were telling me? Because, in my day, you could just walk into a business, you could be dressed down with your resume, fill out the application and all of that. That's not how they do it anymore. People don't want to see you. And you were saying to me that resumes go through a robotic process before it even gets to the actual interview. You want to share some of that?
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, with applying for jobs now, especially like I touched on before, with the increased competition in the economy, people that are looking for new employees are saying that it's no longer like finding a needle in a haystack, where there's one person that's most qualified for a job. It's like finding the sharpest needle in a stack of needles. So everyone is qualified, but you have to try to find that best person.
That best fit.
And doing so, employers are now using what are called applicant tracking systems. So they're repeatedly called ATS systems. But what this is that when you submit your resume, oftentimes you submit it electronically now, so you're putting it in online. A company or an employer will then have that resume go through this system, the ATS system, where it'll put a score. It'll rank the resumes that come through based on the keywords in the resume that they've programmed that's what they're looking for. So the skills that they list in their job description, if you don't have those same list of skills in your resume, there's really not a good chance that you're going to be in those top scored resumes to get an interview. So what I try to tell students is that they should start viewing their resume almost like a ticket, because when you have a ticket, it gets scanned. It has a barcode on it. Your resume needs to be like a barcode for that individual job, that if it matches up right, then you'll get it to that next step of the job process.
I want to know how much, and that's something that I myself was not aware of, and I really honestly believe in this, in what we're facing in this time and everything. A lot is who you know, to really be honest. Your resume gets on top based on who you know. But outside of that, Sister Chat, we deal with a lot of spirituality, and we like to encourage that also. I also think that a big part of it, and I don't know if you handle this in the department, is how much of my getting this job has everything to do with my thoughts. How much am I prepared spiritually to go in for this job and really do a little bit of what we call the law of attraction, in terms of just positive thinking, being pleasant, feeling secure. Because as much, you can give me all this information, right? And I'll probably be really dressed right and have the right things on my resume. But if I'm not producing a certain energy or vibration, people are going to pick up on esteem issues and all of the above. So how much are we preparing the confidence in our students as well as all of the other, particles? And I think here on your, you have something. Go for it.
Well, the Career Development Office, I'm going into my newscaster voice.
Okay.
Well, the Career Development Office offers 2014 Success Series.
Wow.
And one of the Success Series that you're discussing, just discussed, will be held on October 21st.
Come on down, people, for it. You got to get in.
Which is called Finding Your Passion. And guess who is leading that presentation?
Oh, no. Our one and only Madam Rain.
And the purpose of this workshop is this, Isa. One of the stumbling blocks to living a passion-filled life is gaining a clear understanding of whether or not your major is aligned with this goal.
Oh, I love it.
So, a lot of it, we like to say, I think that there was a saying that if you enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
That's where passion comes
my
from.
Career
And we like
my job.
we like to have students define what their passion is while they are in this phase, the 4-year development phase.
All right,
because
great.
the
And
worst
I'm sure if
thing,
you're there, Alicia, you're gonna
They're
pick
gonna get
out
it. She's
and
gonna make
pick
sure.
in.
Alicia.
Y'all
Yes,
can go
ma'am.
see Alicia over
Also
there.
add to that, I love that idea, and I also think that we should add, what does it mean to find and generate new passion? New passion.
it is all. Stay
Well,
tuned.
you'll never know
October
until you get down to the career center.
So what it means is that for young people like my daughter who wants a house in Malibu and wants to have
wants a yacht.
Ferrari, yeah.
Me too.
I mean, how is this career that you want in acting right now
Aligned.
how is it aligned with it, and what other careers you think is possible for you to pursue to get these things, and what would it mean to have an volunteer experience in that field, and making sure people are open to broaden their horizons as opposed to just loving what is in front of them.
And what is what I like about this is no one can answer that question for students but
No.
students.
You have to have
All we
opportunities.
can do is guide them
Right.
and show them and let them know that the passion lies within you.
Absolutely.
How do you connect to that? Because we want them to find out that they're on the right path
right.
before they get ready to graduate.
Absolutely.
So I am in love.
Suppose I wanted
With
to be
this passion.
like a stripper, right? And suppose that, no, I'm serious. Your client comes to you, she comes out of dance school.
see what
How
I go
can we
through?
align them in something like, okay, you're not going to do pole dancing, but maybe Broadway? No, I'm just serious. Like, not many of these students are really sure and
Luke is
really,
blushing a
I
little bit
just
right now.
love because poor Luke. He never thought this would happen.
because, I mean, hey,
Yeah, let's keep it real.
no, yeah. What do you guys have over there?
I'm gonna give that one to you, Luke.
I don't think we have anything specifically related to exotic dancing, but in any field, exotic dancing included,
Right. We
there's
gotta
a
be
set of
prepared.
transferable skills that people are going to be getting. So think about the high level of customer service, interpersonal communication
That's
skills,
right.
the ability to sell, all these things, regardless of the field.
No,
I'm
right.
looking,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they're
Sell
able
your
to-
body. You're gonna
Behave
dance.
yourself.
Yes.
Behave yourself, no.
But students will be able to gain from whatever experience they've
That's
had
awesome.
valuable professional skills. And if they want to keep
Oh,
it in
so
the same
eloquent.
field, that's totally fine. If their passion is something with dancing, something with entertainment,
Right.
Luke,
we're,
I
we're,
like
we're
that.
prepared to give them a laundry list of things that they can try to experience that
be
are going to fulfill that passion.
That's right, and that's awesome. You guys got to
you're
be
so
with the times.
diplomatic. I love it.
No, we have to be with the times, and I like what because regardless of what you be the best at what you can be, as long as it's legal, it's tax paying dollars, and we can all encourage everyone.
end of the day,
the
we're
best garbage
encouraged-
cleaner, the best whatever.
At the end of the day, we're encouraging students to not only do what they love or what they know of, but to also explore other fields. Because here's the thing, I believe that we can learn to love anything we've mastered or anything we've become familiar with and have learned how to do. And that's another kind of way of finding your passion.
Right.
Until you've done it, you didn't know you could have loved it.
Once you kind of get in that comfort zone, it makes all the difference.
No, yeah, absolutely, I agree. And it's one of those things that a lot of times people don't realize what they're passionate about until
Yes.
they experience it.
Absolutely.
Right.
They have to be put in a position to try it. And that's one of the hard things that students also have to understand, that it's going to be uncomfortable. It's
Yes.
going to be scary
Yes.
and it's going to be difficult, but after going through it, they might find that
It was
that thing
worth
that was once scary is what they want to be doing with the rest of their lives.
Absolutely.
That's it. I'm
It's the
going
only
for
way you
it.
grow.
Go, city.
But
here I
remember,
come. You guys are encouraging me.
come back down. Those skills are transferable. Okay?
Come on.
I like that word, transferable. So
Okay.
you don't have to go on no.
I don't have to do go-go.
I'm gonna, but you can go,
I can do the go-go.
but not go.
Okay.
Those
I'm
skills
just having
are.
fun. Yes, let's straighten up now. Professional.
Wait,
Yes,
is,
you.
wait, is my
WESS
fedora?
FM.
Is my fedora back on?
Yeah, you're
properly?
good. You're
Because
good.
we
You're
kind
good.
of like, folks,
We're here in the studio.
we like to have fun, and at the same
While we're
time, we like to inform students, educate the community,
Absolutely.
because this radio station is being heard across the board, and that's what we like to do. And what I like about it is that we have free expression. So with that being said, I want it to be known that the views and opinions that we have discussed are not necessarily that of the station or the university, but of our own. And if it relates and it aligns, feel free to take it as jewels and wear it around your neck or on your ring, in your heart, because that's what this radio station is about. And that's one of the reasons why we won the 2014 Woody Award as Best Station in the Nation, because we do all these things. Brandon, why are you back there laughing at me? I see you back there laughing. That's okay. But, you know, we have to promote the realness and the fact that not too many campuses have this opportunity, nor do we have career development centers.
That's right.
That gives this.
I
So,
want to give a shout out to the career development
with
office
that,
over there.
Luke, before we do our close, do you want to give us some final thoughts?
Final thoughts on what specifically?
Career readiness, whatever you want to share. Your day with a bunch of women, whatever you want to share.
Well, first off, I just want to thank all of you for having me here. This has been a blast. I've had a lot of fun. But something that we talked about, though, it's touched on briefly, that I think was really important, is something that you began to speak about, the building the helping youth start to describe their own experience, tell their own story, and be reflective and have confidence in what they've done.
Absolutely.
And I think that's something that is probably one of the most important aspects of career development at any level.
Yes.
Because what you're doing at the end of the day, you're telling your story and you're trying to make people believe and understand your worth.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, I think that's one of, if not the most important skills related to career development. Being able to honestly, truthfully, and proudly tell your own story regardless of the experiences you've had. Because everyone's experience is valid and everyone's experience has meaning and a purpose. Absolutely.
Awesome.
So that's kind of my 2 cents that I want to throw in, that I really liked what you brought in with that. And in closing, I mean, I guess I kind of want to run through, we have a little bit of a 4-year outline kind of for what students should follow for their general career development process. So beginning in your freshman year, if you are a student out there that's listening, start focusing on doing those self-assessments. We talked a lot about finding your passion. So engage in different activities, clubs, organizations that you might not be that familiar with, but just get out there and try something different, because gaining those experiences are going to be the most valuable at the end of the day. Through your sophomore year into your second year, start to maybe, after you've found some of those passions, try to find an experiential opportunity where you can apply what you've found that you love to do and build your skills in those areas. So moving forward, you can be a successful professional in those areas. As you go forward, you're going to continue to kind of interact more with your faculty, build more connections, possibly with professionals in the field through those experiential opportunities that you've engaged in. And then just kind of continue to prepare to engage in that search into your job and application process. Because once you begin your last year in higher education, it's time to start applying for jobs. You don't have to have the degree in your hand to say that you're going to have it, so you're still going to be a viable candidate. A lot of times that hiring process takes a long time. So into that last year, just start to refine your documents, make yourself appear as professional as possible, practice those interviewing skills, and just put yourself in a position to succeed. That's pretty much all I can say.
All right. Thank you, Luke.
You just heard Sister Chat with Luke on the Best Station in the Nation, 2014 MTV Woody Award winning 90.3 WESS FM, East Stroudsburg University, East Stroudsburg, PA. Be sure to turn us on, because we like it when you turn us on, every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Next week, our topic will be networking your assets. Coming up, we will have the talk show with Dr. McKenzie. As we close our topic of career readiness, I want to close out with Panama Red again. New Step in Panama. If you're listening, I have a question for you. Someone wants to know if you're from Panama. Here we go with New Step.
Forget your two-step, let me see your new step. Forget your two-step, let me see your new step. Forget your two-step, let me see